So you have here a chart telling you the types of women and who can be married and who cannot be married. So you see up the top, let's take a look here. We have mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and nieces. Okay? Those are 5 categories. Now, if you look all the way down the bottom here, green means lawful. It's like traffic light. Green means lawful. Green is go. Okay, red is unlawful. Red is stop. And yellow means there's a detail. Okay? So wherever there's red, that means that it's not lawful. Wherever there's green, that means it is lawful. Wherever there's yellow, that means there's a detail. Now, if you look on the left side, we have 3 major categories here. Now, actually, there's a 4th category, so let's look at them. The top one is blood relation. The second one in the middle here is marriage. And the third one is breastfeeding. These are the 3 ways that relationship is established in our religion. Now, down the bottom, there's a 4th one, adoption, and you see adoption is in red. That's because adoption is not valid. We'll come back to talk about it, inshallah. Now, still on the left side, but in the next column here, or the next row, we have original, we have grand or great, we have in-laws, we have step relatives, and then we have nursing. So let's take a look here. Now, possibly we'll skip some things. If I just want to double check anything that's here, we'll skip it, inshallah. But whatever is certain and clear, we'll go over it. We'll cover it, inshallah. So let's start with the first category, which is the mothers. So one could have a mother through blood relation, one could have a mother through marriage, and one could have a mother through breastfeeding, and one cannot have a valid mother through adoption. Here, if we follow this last one across, adoption is invalid. It's categorically invalid, meaning it does not yield any relationship. Meaning that you cannot annex a child's lineage to your family lineage. Saying that adoption is not valid does not mean that you can't raise a child that's not your own child. What it means is that you cannot, it means that you are obligated to preserve the child's lineage. Preserve the child's lineage. And if you don't know who's the child's father, then that child is still merely your brother in Islam or your sister in Islam, not a relative. So, mothers. We have, let's start with the first category, mothers through blood relation. You have the original mother, meaning the woman who delivered one, your mother. She's all in the red. You cannot marry your mother. You have your grandmother or great grandmother or any line of mothers, meaning the mother of your mother or the mother of your father or any of their mothers or any of their mothers. They are all unlawful. If we go down, there's a second category here, which is marriage. So now let's look at in-laws. The wife's mother, so that's the mother-in-law. The wife's mother is non-marriageable from the moment of the contract. A man married a woman, that woman's mother becomes maHram for him immediately. There's no detail. Going down, the father's wife, yani, if we go down, we have the step parent, or the step relative, if you want, that happens through marriage. So the father's wife, she's called the stepmother, your father's wife. That's your stepmother. Or also your grandfather's wife. So that's your step grandmother. So she is also non-marriageable, maHram, by the mere marriage contract. As soon as your father married that woman, she became unlawful for you. As soon as your grandfather married that woman, she became unlawful for you. Now, everything here is, these are all types of women. So what does the woman do, the woman who's taking this lesson? She just reverses it. So for her, the categories would be fathers, sons, brothers, uncles, and nephews. Now, still in the step category, what about the mother of your stepfather or the mother of your stepmother? Or your wife's stepmother? So who is that? The mother of your stepfather. That means your mother married a man. So that's your stepfather. Your mother married a man. So that's your stepfather. This man has a mother. What's the judgment of that mother? The mother of your stepfather, she is marriageable. So you cannot be alone with her or see her hair or touch her. And the wife's stepmother, the wife's stepmother. So you have a wife, you married a woman, she's your wife, and her father married a woman. So that's her stepmother, your wife's stepmother. She's marriageable. So you can't be alone with her or see her hair or anything like that. Now, obviously, this is detailed, and if you need to think about how these relationships work and who's related to who, how, it just requires some study and review. So take notes, inshallah, or record the lesson also if you're not taking notes. Now, moving down, still in the category of mothers, but now nursing. So the nursing mother is non-marriageable. That's the woman who breastfed you according to the conditions that we won't talk about now. But if she breastfed a boy, if a woman breastfed a boy under certain conditions that are known, then that boy becomes her nursing son. He is her nursing son. She is his nursing mother. They become non-marriageable. Likewise, the wife's nursing mother. So you married a woman who has a nursing mother. You married a woman who was breastfed by a woman who's not her mother. So that woman became her nursing mother. Your wife's nursing mother is non-marriageable. And the parents and the grandparents and the nursing parents' nursing mother, meaning the woman who nursed your parent, the woman who nursed your parent, the woman who nursed your grandparent, or the woman who nursed your nursing parent. They are unlawful. You cannot marry them. Going down, your sibling's nursing mother. Your sibling's nursing mother, meaning you have a brother or a sister who was nursed by a woman. She didn't nurse you. She nursed your sibling. So your sibling's nursing mother is marriageable. So you can't be alone with her or see her hair, etc. Your child's or aunt's or uncle's nursing mother, meaning you have a child. A man has a son or a daughter, and his child was nursed by a woman. Let's say, for example, two women are best friends. They always nurse each other's babies. Each one of those women has a husband. So the husbands of those women remain lawful for the other woman, if you understand what I'm saying, right? So you have a woman who let her friend nurse her baby. A woman let her friend nurse her baby. This woman who let her friend nurse her baby has a husband. Let's say the friend has no husband, to keep it easy. Okay? A woman has a husband. Her husband gave her a baby, or she gave him a baby. They made a baby. Then she gave her baby to her friend, and her friend nursed her baby. Now her baby is non-marriageable to her friend, but what about her husband? Her husband remains marriageable to her friend. So there's no relationship because his child became non-marriageable to that woman. Now let's move on to the daughters. We're back up to the top category, blood relation. Daughters, the girl conceived in wedlock. That's your daughter. Your girl who was conceived in wedlock. Why is that a condition? She's conceived in wedlock because the scholars differed about the girl who's conceived out of wedlock. So, the girl who's conceived in wedlock, your daughter, she is non-marriageable. That's why she's in the red. Going down, we have the granddaughter or the great-granddaughter, for example. So the daughter of the son or the daughter of the daughter, so that's the granddaughter, your child's daughter, also unlawful. So that means what? You can be alone with her, you can see her hair, you can travel with her if she needed to travel, for example. Going down into the next category, which is relationship by marriage, you have the son's wife, the daughter-in-law, your son's wife. Your son's wife becomes unlawful by the mere marriage contract. Your son's wife becomes unlawful by the mere marriage contract. So as soon as your son marries a woman or a girl, then she's not lawful for you and you can hug her and all of that. Going down, the daughter of the daughter-in-law or the daughter of the son-in-law means your son married a woman who has a girl, or your daughter married a man who has a girl. So the daughter of your daughter-in-law or the daughter of your son-in-law, she is lawful. She is marriageable, so it's not permissible to be alone with her, to touch her, to see her hair, etc. Going down to this category, what they call step, and mind you, that maybe in some different languages, they don't use this term stepson and stepdaughter and things like that. So this is from an English perspective. So, what about the wife's daughter? That's the stepdaughter. Your wife's daughter, meaning you married a woman who already has a girl. Or your wife's granddaughter. You married a woman who had a granddaughter. You married a woman who has a child who had a daughter. And your wife's nursing daughter. You married a woman who nursed someone else's child. This is the first instance we've come to that has a detail. That's why it's in yellow. So at first, it's written in green to symbolize that originally she's lawful for you. Meaning, your wife's daughter. You married a woman who has a girl. That girl does not become unlawful for you by the mere marriage contract. The mere marriage contract does not make her a maHram. So you married a woman who has a girl. If she's too big, like a grown woman, for example, then you can't hug her right away as soon as you did the marriage contract. Okay, you can hug your wife if you want, but her daughter, you haven't consummated the marriage with your wife yet, so you can't hug her daughter yet, or see her hair, or be alone with her. So your wife's daughter, that's your stepdaughter, or her granddaughter, or her nursing daughter, they become forbidden after consummation. Once you consummate the marriage, then they are like your own daughter. Now you can be alone with them and see their hair, etc. Let's move over to the side really quick here. What about the stepson's wife? Your stepson's wife. That means you married a woman who has a son, so he's your stepson, your wife's son, and he has a wife. What's her judgment? She is marriageable. That's why it's in the green. She is lawful for you to marry, so you cannot be with her like she's a maHram. She's not maHram. And also the wife's stepdaughter. The wife's stepdaughter. You married a woman who had already married a man before you who had a daughter. You married a woman who was previously married to a man who had a daughter. So that's her stepdaughter. Your wife's stepdaughter. She is not maHram. She remains marriageable. Let's go down into the category of breastfeeding. We're still on daughters. The girl who's nursed by your wife. So that's your nursing daughter. She is unlawful. She becomes maHram. And also your own child's nursing child. You have a child, and this child of yours has a nursing child. Your daughter has a nursing child. Your daughter has a nursing daughter, for example. A girl that she nursed who's not her own girl. Then your child's nursing child becomes unlawful. Moving down, your child's nursing sister. Your child's nursing sister is not your nursing daughter. Your child's nursing sister. So you have a child, and your child has a sister by nursing. Not your nursing child, yani. Let me clarify something. What makes a child the nursing child of the man? He's not the one who's doing the nursing. So how does he become the nursing parent, the man, the nursing father? If his wife nursed a child, meaning her milk is because of him, his wife has milk because of him. So if his wife nurses a child, then because of him, she had milk because of him, then he is the nursing father. Now, let's say a man has a nursing child. This nursing child is unlawful for him. What if this nursing child has a sibling, a sister? That sister is still marriageable. No relationship happened by this relationship here. By this circle here, there's no relationship between the man and that sister of his nursing child. Same thing for the grandchild's nursing mother. The grandchild's nursing mother is not your nursing daughter. Your grandchild's nursing mother. So you have a grandchild. That means you have a child who had a child. That's your grandchild. This grandchild of yours was nursed by another woman who's not your child. So does that woman become unlawful for you? No, she does not. She remains lawful for you. Let's go on now to the third category, sisters, up top. And we have here, we're starting with blood relation, sisters. The girl from your mother and or father, your full or half sister. So whether you share one parent with that girl or you share both parents with that girl, then either way, she is not lawful for you. And by the way, you should know that your closest relative of all of your relatives, who's your closest, absolute closest relative? Not your mother, not your father. Your absolute closest relative is your full sibling. Your full sibling. So if you and your sibling shared the same parents, the same mother and father in wedlock, then that's your closest relative. What makes that person your closest relative? The fact that you both have all the same relatives. All of your siblings' relatives in this case are your relatives, and all of your relatives are your siblings' relatives. So that's your closest relative. Beneath that, there's no category for a grand sister, so that's in black. Moving down to the next category of relationship, which is marriage, we have the wife's sister. That's your sister-in-law. Even if that was your wife's sister by nursing, then there's a detail, so that's why it's in yellow. Your wife's sister. It's written in red originally, your wife's sister. Why is written in red? Because you cannot marry your wife's sister. But not absolutely. The green part is that she's lawful after divorce or death. If you divorced your wife or your wife died, then you could marry her sister. So she's not a maHram. She's not a maHram. Your inability to marry your wife's sister while you are married to your wife does not make her a maHram. She's not maHram, although you can't marry her presently. Because if the circumstances were to change, you would be able to marry her. So she's not maHram, so you cannot be alone with her. You cannot hug her and see her hair and all of that. Then you have your sibling's sister. Your sibling's sister is not your sister. So you have a sibling. Okay, let's say, for example, you have a sister from your father. You have a sister from your father. So you have a sister from your father and you have a brother from your mother. So that brother can marry his sibling's sister. That brother can marry his sibling's sister. So you have a brother, a man. He has a brother from his father. His brother, I think I said something, I think I made a mistake. Let me start this over again. This scenario. The sibling's sister, your sibling's sister. So a man has a sibling, a brother or a sister, from one parent. This sibling has a sister that's not his own sister, not the first man. It's not his own sister, because that girl is not from his mother and is not from his father. You understand? So your sibling's sister is not your sister, so she is marriageable. Going down, the mother of the son-in-law or daughter-in-law. So, you have a son-in-law, meaning your daughter married a man. That man is your son-in-law. This man has a mother. The mother of your son-in-law, or the mother of your daughter-in-law, meaning your son married a girl, and this girl has a mother. This mother is marriageable. There's no relationship between you and that woman. So you can't be alone with her or touch her or see her hair or any of that. Going down, the parent's spouse's daughter, the stepsister. Your parent's spouse's daughter. So, your mother married a man who has a daughter, for example. A man has a daughter, a woman has a son. This man and this woman got married. The man has a daughter, the woman has a son. The man and the woman got married. What happens to their children, the son and the daughter? Nothing. There's no relationship between them. And this is an important case to be mindful about, because what happens when a man and a woman get married? Don't they often move in together? And what happens when their children are not on their own yet? Don't they stay with their parent? So then you don't want to be negligent about these step siblings, stepbrother and stepsister, being alone together and the girl being uncovered in front of him and things like that, because they are marriageable. Now to the third category of what makes relationship: breastfeeding. Your nursing sister. That means the girl that your mother nursed. That's your nursing sister. Or the daughter of your nursing mother. That's your nursing sister. Okay, your mother nursed a girl that's not her own girl, that became your nursing sister. You cannot marry her. Or you and a girl were both nursed by the same woman. That's your nursing sister. You can't marry her. So, your mother nursed a girl. She's your nursing sister. Or you were nursed by a woman who has a girl. She's your nursing sister. Or you and a girl were both nursed by the same woman. She's your nursing sister. In all those cases, you cannot marry your nursing sister. Going down, as for the sibling's nursing sister, your sibling's nursing sister, your brother's nursing sister, or your sister's nursing sister, there's no relationship, so she's not maHram. All right, going back up to the top. We're again in the first category of what makes relationship: blood relation. That's called nesab. Nesab in Arabic. Nesab. And the fourth type of woman is the aunt. Some people say aunt. I did hear in my schooling that the proper pronunciation is aunt, despite the U, that it's aunt. I still say aunt anyway because of the U that's there. So I don't know. I might be saying it wrong, which, you know, I don't like to say those words wrong, but I do say aunt, and I learned in school growing up that the proper pronunciation is aunt. So anyway, the aunt, the sister of your mother or your father, is unlawful. Your aunt's or your uncle's daughter is your cousin. Now, here, this green block here, which is under aunt, it really doesn't belong there, actually. The only reason why it's there is because there's nowhere else to put it in this chart. So that was the best spot to fit it in. The cousins are marriageable. This is known in our religion. This is common in many, many, many societies. If you live in a society where it's not common, then you don't have to bring it up so that you don't repel people. Some people find it something very ugly because it's not common in their societies. But there are many societies in which that is common, Muslim societies and non-Muslim societies, in which there are relationships between the cousins. And actually, even as far as I know, it's not even illegal in the United States. So I'm not saying that for any reason, just for establishing facts. So that's the religious judgment. Your aunt's daughter or your uncle's daughter is lawful. That's why she's in the green. So you can't touch her or be alone with her or see her hair or hug her. And then there's always the question, well, what do I do when I go see my family and all my girl cousins who are my age and they want to hug me and stuff? You got to figure it out. Subhanallah. Moving right along. The sister of the grandmother or the grandfather, that's the great aunt, is unlawful. Going into the next category of marriage, nikah or ziwaj. What about the uncle's wife? Your uncle's wife is lawful, meaning, of course, if he were to pass away or divorce her. A woman cannot have more than one husband. So, of course, you can't marry her while she's married to your uncle. That goes without saying. So you can't be alone with her or see her hair. She's not your aunt, although many people in different societies, they do treat this woman who has married into their family as if she's really an aunt, especially if she's older, right? Like if you're a little kid and you grew up knowing your uncle and knowing your uncle's wife, so you just grew up like she's really your aunt, but religiously she's not actually your aunt. What is she? She's your uncle's wife. And she is marriageable. Moving down. Your wife's aunt, there's a detail, that's why it's in yellow. Your wife's aunt is unlawful for you as long as you are married to your wife. So that's why it starts off in red. But she becomes lawful after divorce or death. So the aunt of the wife is like the sister of the wife. Same judgment. You cannot be married to both of them at the same time. What about going down? Your stepparents' sister. So your stepfather's sister or your stepmother's sister. She is lawful. Going down to the next category of what makes relation, rida or rada, the nursing mother's sister. So a woman nursed you, and this woman has a sister. She is unlawful for you. Now going back up to the top, Back to the blood relation. The nieces, that's the last of those categories. The daughter of your brother or sister, your niece, is unlawful. You cannot marry her. What about your nephew or niece's daughter? The daughter of your nephew or the daughter of your niece, also she is unlawful. And what about the niece of your grandchild, which is your great niece or your grandniece or great grandniece? Also unlawful. Now, going into the category of marriage, what about your nephew's wife? Your nephew's wife is lawful. If your nephew were to divorce her or pass away, you could marry her. And you know something? Only someone who doesn't have a bigger picture of things would think that there's something strange about mentioning marrying your nephew's wife. Don't you know that your nephew could possibly be your very age? You could be the same age as your nephew, for example. Your nephew could be like as if he's your brother or your friend in age. So that's why you need to know these rules. Your uncle also. You could have an uncle who's just your age. I remember I had two friends. They are my age. Both of them are my age, and one was the uncle of the other. And they were friends who always hung out together. What about the wife's niece? Your wife's niece. Or her grandniece, even by nursing, she becomes lawful after divorce or death. After you divorced your wife or your wife died, then you could marry her niece, but you cannot marry her while you're married to your wife. So there you go. The wife's sister, the wife's aunt, and the wife's niece, they all have the same judgment. Moving down, the stepparents niece. Your stepparents niece is lawful for you. Your nursing niece and your brother's nursing niece, let me check those. Those two I'm not sure of at the moment. So you see what's written there, but I'll check them inshallah. And you can ask if you want to, inshallah ta'ala. And then again, as we said, at the very bottom we have adoption. Why is that all the way at the bottom? Because it's invalid. It does not yield any relationship, and that's why there's no details here. Now, the word adoption is in red because it's not valid, but we have here this whole bar is green. That's to symbolize the fact that you are actually allowed to raise a child who's not your own. So what we mean by saying that adoption is not valid is annexing that child to your family lineage. You can raise a child who's not your own, but you are obligated to maintain that child's own lineage. And once that child gets too big, then if it was a boy, then the woman who had been raising him for all that time is no longer allowed to be alone with him or uncover her hair in front of him. And if it was a girl, then the man that she was growing up in his house and he was raising her, he's no longer allowed to be alone with her or see her hair or anything like that because she is not related to him. There is no relationship by adoption. Adoption is not valid, and there's no relationship by merely raising someone. And that's it. That's the entire chart, subhanallah. Subhanallah. It was much more simple than I thought it would be. So I'm glad that worked out. If you have any question that I can answer for you, I'll be glad to. We'll stop there, inshallah. So, yes, it was a brain workout. It was a workout for me, mashallah, putting that whole thing together, actually. I remember, subhanallah, finally I figured out how to mesh all of that together on one page. And then I taught it once. And even for me, the first time I taught it, I was like, whoa, my head was spinning, subhanallah, but I got used to it. Yeah, go ahead. What's your question? So you said, is the rest of the chart reversible? There's here the case of the under the daughters, stepdaughters here. So the wife's daughter, she is forbidden after consummation, but she is not forbidden before consummation. Here, this case is not reversible. It's not the same the other way, meaning a woman marries a man who has a son. His son becomes unlawful for her immediately by the mere marriage contract. So that part is not reversible. So here, a man marries a woman who has a daughter. Her daughter does not become maHram until he consummates the marriage with her mother. A woman marries a man who has a son. His son will become maHram immediately by the mere marriage contract. And as far as I know, everything else is reversible. If there's something else in here that's not reversible, I'm not aware of it. So, inshallah, if we become aware of it, then we'll specify that.